They spend billions of dollars on the census, and you're not allowed to ask. You go knock on doors of houses, check houses. You go through all this detail, and you're not allowed to ask whether or not somebody is a citizen. So you can ask other things, but you can't ask whether or not somebody's a citizen.
That was Donald Trump just a few days ago asking why it is that the federal government can't have the census ask individuals about their citizenship status. Well, today, Trump is actually conflicting or contradicting, I should say, his own Justice Department after the Justice Department released information indicating that it would start printing the census without the immigration question. And that is in response to the Supreme Court's ruling to block the question for now. Now, yesterday, the big story was that the census would be printed without the immigration question, or I should say the citizenship status question. And we found out about that because a lawyer, and this was an individual who actually worked for the Obama administration, tweeted about it saying, quote, "Huge census news. The government just advised that the decision has been made to print the census questionnaire without the citizenship question. We won." And then he proceeded to share a letter that came from the Justice Department, Kate Bailey to be specific, and it said, quote, "We can confirm that the decision has been made to print the 2020 decennial census questionnaire without a citizenship question, and that the printer has been instructed to begin the printing process." But Donald Trump, as I mentioned, is contradicting this, tweeting the following: "The news reports about the Department of Commerce dropping its quest to put the citizenship question on the census is incorrect, or to state it differently, fake. We are absolutely moving forward as we must because of the importance of the answer to this question." Now, Commerce Secretary Wilbur Ross was fighting to include the question, but he also said yesterday that they were gonna move forward without the question included in the census. So Trump is not only contradicting the Justice Department, but his own Commerce Secretary. Hashtag 25th Amendment.
Totally. What is this? This is total insanity. Okay, look, I've never seen this in my life, and this is actually even weird by Trump standards. So I get that they really wanted to include the question. I get that they wanted to fight tooth and nail. I get that they were willing to go past the deadline. But the ship has sailed. The Justice Department, it's not Obama's Justice Department. It's Trump's Justice Department and Trump's Commerce Department. They have said, we paid the money, we've started printing the forms, the question's not on there. Trump comes out and goes, fake news. But wait a minute, is your own Justice Department and Commerce Department fake departments? By the way, it may be according to Trump, because remember, he hates the Justice Department for investigating him. So, but there are layers of unbelievableness here. Okay, number one is, why is the president contradicting his own government? Two, does the president have any idea the decisions made by his own government? I mean, I guess you could ask who's right, but we know who's right. There's a lunatic who's the president, doesn't know anything, doesn't care that he doesn't know anything, doesn't care what the truth is. And did they not tell him? Like, hey, because they were like worried that he's gonna act like a child and just shoot someone with a crossbow and pull a Joffrey, you know? Did they tell him? And he's like, oh, okay, don't care. I'm gonna lie about it right now, right away. Did they tell him afterwards and say, Mr. President, you gotta take the tweet back? We already sent it to the presses.
All right, do you have another question or can I answer now?
Go ahead, no, go ahead.
So,
but wait a minute, I'm just kidding.
Two things. I don't know whether he knew about what the Justice Department had already put out there. I would assume he knows because this was big news yesterday. By the time we went to air, the story had just made it to the press.
So no, it hasn't. It's fake news. It hasn't gone to the press.
I find it incredibly difficult to believe that Trump had no idea because he put out that tweet today, and that story broke yesterday. So I'm going to go ahead and assume that he knew. There are two things I want to bring up. Number one, what happens if Trump forces that question into the census? There's a citizenship question. The Supreme Court has deemed it unconstitutional. They blocked it because Wilbur Ross, as Commerce Secretary, made the argument that the citizenship question needed to be included in order to protect our elections. I'm assuming protect our elections from undocumented immigrants voting. The reasoning made no sense, which is why the Supreme Court said, hey, hold up, we're gonna block this because this is not rationale that we're gonna accept, but we will leave the door open if you have a different argument that might make more sense. And so it appears that Wilbur Ross was like, no, bro, I don't have anything else, so let's just move forward. We're gonna go ahead and print it. But here's the thing, what if Trump goes ahead and decides to include it in the census? Like, what's gonna happen? Is Nancy Pelosi going to try to impeach him?
No. Look, luckily there's still some sane people left in the government because because they did send it. Trump is wrong. And so if he said, I don't care what the courts say, I'm not gonna listen to the courts, that would be an enormous constitutional crisis. And no, of course, Democrats would do nothing because they're the worst of the worst, the Democratic leadership. But some people in the government actually still apparently care about the government functioning.
Like who?
Well, the people who printed this questionnaire, who said, no, we're done. We said, we got to go at the end of June 2019. It's the end of June 2019, we got to print it. So, I mean, you're thinking that, can Trump say, you know what, forget the $114 million we paid for this.
Yeah.
I'll just scratch it and start over. Is that possible? I guess it's possible, but right now.
Of course that's possible. He doesn't care about the money. I mean, he loves wasting money on a number of stupid things that we're gonna talk about throughout the show. Like, I don't put anything past him, Cenk.
But as things stand now, he's not telling the truth. They have been printed and no one agrees with him, including his own government, okay? So now, look, I wanna get to the raising as well because there's some unbelievable quotes from the Supreme Court if you haven't heard this before. But first, I liked it, Anna's supposition, like my mom saying, he knows. Okay, anyway, and I have a theory as to why he's lying about it. His base will believe anything he says.
Exactly, yes.
It's, now I'm gonna be unfair to Kamala Harris because comparing anyone to Trump is unfair. But that's what Kamala Harris raises her hand when they ask her, hey, are you a progressive? Are you for Medicare for all? When all the voters are watching. And then she turns around when the voters aren't watching and turns to the reporters and the donors and says, nah, I'm not really for it, right? So this is Trump going, fake news, yeah, we're doing it. I won. And then his government going, no, it's not true, he's lying, but that's okay, let's just move forward, right? And then his base thinks, oh no, Trump won on that. Emma Vigeland, when we were at the Miami debates, interviewed some Trump supporters. Please check that out on youtube.com/rebelhq or facebook.com/rebelhq or just go to our website, tyt.com and click on Rebel HQ. Anyway, it was amazing. Emma gives a fact, the woman's like, nope, not true. But wait, it is true. Trump said he could shoot someone on 5th Avenue and get away with it. She's like, and he never said that. Emma's like, do you want me to play the video of Trump saying it on my phone? Nope, don't care, not true. Like it doesn't matter what you say. She says, I don't care. If Trump says it, it's a fact, it's over. And that's why he's probably putting out that tweet.
Right.
Because he knows that all of his followers are pathetically stupid and robotic. So it doesn't have to be true. He just has to say it. And they go, yes, sir, of course, sir. Your Justice Department and Commerce Department and the whole government is, and everyone in the press is enemies of the people and the worst of the worst, and you are the demigod. Well, if you have followers that stupid, you can say anything you want. So I think that's the simple answer.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. That was the second thing I wanted to bring up. I was gonna say this could be his strategy of mitigating a loss, right? Because everything that Trump does is to make himself look good to his base. And right now, the Trump administration is in a little bit of a panic because they're concerned about the Mercers no longer supporting them, so they don't have that financial backing that they previously had. They're concerned about the fact that the NRA is in shambles, and they think they need the NRA in order to win the election. Trump hasn't really delivered on much of his campaign promises, including the border wall, which he's diverted billions of dollars toward. So I think this is his way of confusing them and making them think, no, Trump's right. Like the question is gonna be in there. My only question to them though is, do you not know how to read? Because you're gonna get that census and you're not gonna see that question.
Oh, they're not good. They don't, of course not. They don't care about anything that related to reality. Look, Donald Trump said that wind causes cancer. Didn't lose anybody. Didn't lose any Republicans. They're like, well, of course it does. we're moving forward. I mean, either you have to say, of course, wind causes cancer, and that's why I support Donald Trump, or the president is a lunatic, but I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. So look, that's one of thousands of examples, but they're okay with it. All right, last thing, Supreme Court, man, part of the reason they lost on this is because they took a backhand to Wilbur Ross and the Trump administration.
It was delicious.
Yeah, I'm gonna read you 4 quotes from the Supreme Court decision. Remember, this is a conservative Supreme Court. Okay, here's what they said. He gave a rationale for why they wanted to include this citizenship question, and it was obviously a farcical one that didn't make any sense at all. So listen to this conservative Supreme Court saying, the evidence tells a story that does not match the Commerce Secretary's explanation for his decision. Then they went on to say, the sole stated reason seems to have been contrived. I love that. Then they go on to say, the explanation provided here was more of a distraction. Again, these are conservative justices. And then lastly, there was a significant mismatch between the decision the Commerce Secretary Wilbur Ross made and the rationale he provided.
Bingo. Yep.
Okay, in other words, I've never seen a case so bad that you can't give conservative justices any thin reed to hang a decision on. We want to rule in this way. We're Republicans. This is going to help the Republican Party. But you're so bad at lying that even we have to say, well, this is an obvious lie, and so we can't do it.